Now that the Trump administration has committed its second murder in broad daylight in Minnesota, I see a lot of people asking why it is that Republicans, Libertarians, Conservatives, Second Amendment advocates, why all of them are so silent. And I think the reason that they are silent, the reason that Republicans and Conservatives are silent and complicit in a regime that blatantly violates all of the values they claim to hold dear, is because they know that this is their only shot at being on top. So they might as well swallow their pride and make the most of it. In a post-Trump world where the pendulum has swung all the way back and the many crimes of the Trump administration are being held up to the light, conservatives that helped Trump rise to power and helped Trump stay in power will be politically and socially ostracized. People like Ted Cruz and Marco. But the Ted Cruzes, the Ron DeSantises, the conservatives that just stood by and stayed silent while Trump violated the Constitution and the law again and again, they are going to spend the rest of their lives being heckled at restaurants. They are going to spend the rest of their lives being chased around by uncomfortable questions about Renee Nicole Good, about Alex Pretty, about 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds being snatched up by ICE from daycare and school. Questions about the Epstein files, questions about the big beautiful bill taking everyone's healthcare away, and ultimately questions about why they just went along with all of it. My first thought after the shooting of Alex Pretty yesterday was, oh god, the lunatics like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're going to say something stupid about this. But then I remembered, Marjorie Taylor Greene is already gone. Look it up, she's a former member of Congress now. She's retired. She left. She ran away and she's now basically in hiding with her family and friends, the only people that won't challenge her for her complicity in the rise of a fascist regime. Every Republican privately understands that they are going to have to do something like that. Because we live in a world where you can find evidence of their complicity with a keystroke. The Google search, it's just out there, there's no hiding. Even the furniture of the Republican establishment, people like Mitch McConnell, who would have absolutely stayed in office until he was over 100, is now retiring. He's not running for re-election because he understands that there is literally no point once the Trump administration is over, because every single Republican will have that same black mark against their name. Go listen to Arnold talking about his experience growing up in post-war Austria, about how all the men in his community had been former members of that particular party, and every single one of them just spent the rest of their lives living in shame. Every Republican that has moved in lockstep with Trump this entire time is going to have to weather the outrage of the public once Trump is no longer there to protect them. A lot of them will have really limited chances of regaining public office, and most of them will probably face very public backlash in their own communities. Think of the town halls that Republicans are no longer holding because they get booed off stage every time. People in those communities know the names and faces of the representatives that essentially sold them out. That's why Republicans and Conservatives are mostly being silent and complicit when it comes to the Trump administration's blatant violations of laws and constitutional amendments that they claim to hold dear. They understand that this is their last chance to enjoy being in power for a long time. If the Republican Party survives the end of the Trump administration, it will probably be unelectable for many years afterwards. Those people will have to go home and face their communities. They're just making the most of feeling like they're on top. Just my opinion, follow for more.